fell on his face. As you know, he winged a couple of shots before finding the range as well. It was like, all right, maybe he just needs to settle in a little bit more, instead of kind of going straight balls to the wall. But once he found himself, I mean, once it went to the ground, he settled in. It did some nice striking down there too, and then he found the rear naked. So, we need to see this guy against actual competition at this point. He's faced zero legitimate challenges in these fights that he has had. So, this is he's doing everything correctly. And the same notes apply now as applied the last time we were talking about him.
Yeah, 100%. I think Yakyaev, I think he truly, because the Mr. Beast thing it's hilarious. I think, and he kind of does. I'll talk about his post fight speech, of course, but he kind of does seem like he has a pretty good sense of humor. I think he should lean into it. Tell the next person, each minute you last with me, 10 grand, pull the whole Mr. Beast challenge. He may not even have it, but you just got to do it for the social media clicks. And then you get it, come out here, make a whole Mr. Beast challenge. Anybody who can last more than 2 minutes and 52 seconds with you, we'll throw something in the mix for you. But no, I think it's a pretty fun performance. And then of course he gets on the mic, and I actually really just like the humility from him. He says he speaks English. He very easily just says, I want to say thank you to all the fans who watched. And I was like, that was me. He's talking to me. Goddamn.
Talking straight to me. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's really not all that much to talk about with this one. I mean, it really was him doing what he needed to do after a little bit of wonkiness. But look, it's a fight, man. I mean, like, everything's going to be slightly different. You'd think that Brenton Hibero at 16-10 going into that fight would have had a little bit more to offer him, perhaps, but this is what it was. It was perfectly fine how it all went down. And this dude is going to be he's going to be getting another one. I mean, he's going to be a guy that continuously is incrementally making improvements, perhaps, or depending on how much he actually needs to. That's what we need to find out next. So, I mean, with 2 wins, he's got to get somebody who's actually going to be able to hang with him a little bit. And the fact that they're at light heavyweight, there are actually now a couple of newer guys that I think might be good for that role. It doesn't have to be a ranked guy just yet. I mean, he is a little new for a ranked guy, I would say, but there's got to be somewhere, somebody who's also just bubbling under the surface to vie for that, I would think.
Dean Thomas, once again, who was cooking on the post show, he thinks that you got to just jump him right to a ranked guy. I mean, he's clearly just gonna fucking obliterate these. Anybody that you think that you can give him. I mean, he's probably just gonna run through them. And even if he doesn't, 2 rounds max is probably what we're gonna get. I would say this dude's probably just gonna be a killer, man. As of right
Well,
now, I mean, lower level competition.
that the only thing that I would say is that the reason I don't or the reason I wouldn't say throw him straight to a ranked guy is only because we saw a little bit of wonkiness. Like if he had a performance like Ethan Ewing, where it was like a full on, a fight that you saw all the technicality over the course of like a round plus, then maybe. We've seen him running through people like the Contender Series. Now, granted, he is doing that to UFC level caliber talent, so I think that does speak volumes. But I wouldn't like to see him derailed off of him doing the same thing that he's been doing. I don't want to see him in a Montes contra Tavicius situation. You know what I mean? Like a dude who was looking great on the Contender Series and then goes in there and does. And now, granted, he was on his debut, but you know what I'm saying? Like a guy who's like, man, he should go in there and just be a world ender. Then we end up seeing him like completely not do that, maybe still eke out a victory. Maybe I do want to see that out of him, but either way, my point is that I don't know if it's right to just jump him straight into the rankings, but if they do, I wouldn't be mad at it either.
Yeah, I think this dude's going to be really exciting. I'm really happy for him. Shout out Turkey. I mean, I've said this before. I said this during the stream. Maybe I even said this, last week. Abdul Rahman Yakyaev. The Yakyaev portion definitely sounds original, but the Abdul Rahman portion, I'm questioning if this is his actual first name.
I mean, it's a cultural name. I mean, Abdul Razak Al Hassan, is also a man of the same faith. So I think that this Abdul and an R name is just like a normal 1-2 punch of that region of the world.
I don't know. It's hard for me to remember, and I'm not trying to get too political or this guy, Abdul Rahman, for a white guy, it just throws me off. That's all that I'm saying.
He's 2 shades light to be having that name in Chase's
Abdul is pretty crazy. Like I don't know. That's all that I'm saying. But
Well,
he's cool.
We go out to Turkey and we find a bunch more dudes who look just like him named Abdul, and it'll maybe change your mind.
I definitely will believe it. I actually, it's funny. I brought this dude up at work. I'm like, all right, guys, Abdul Rahman Yakyayev. Keep an eye out for him, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm like, good deal.
They're gonna know sooner than later. I mean, this guy keeps going out there and taking heads away. So
True.
good stuff. Give him Roman Dolidze. I don't dislike that. I don't dislike that. Maybe yeah, number 15. I'm okay with that. Roman fighting like he doesn't care about the sport anymore. Well, this is one good way to see if he actually does anymore.
Hell yeah.
All right. Brings us to the co-main event of the evening, of course, Virna Jandiroba versus Tabitha Ricci. I mean, I didn't have too much to say about this one because this was Virna doing Virna things. I said the only thing that was surprising to me was how much she wanted to strike in this fight, because she did have a couple of instances where she was specifically initiating striking. I was thankful when Virna realized that striking was going to be a bad idea for her later on in the fight, and then she fell back to her actual skill set. I said, stop trying to prove points out there, which so many people seem to be dead set on doing. You are not Movsar Evloev, nor should you want to be. But she fell back to her base when she was getting a little bit of adversity with the striking later on in the fight, and she ended up doing exactly what she always does. So I was not surprised by this in the slightest.
I also was not surprised about this performance. This was a winning performance, and this is exactly what I saw her do in a 5 round fight against the current champ. This is, fortunately for me, this is her first title defense. But I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, we talk about when I saw Ilya beat Max Holloway, and the belt never transitions. The BMF belt did not transition to Ilya. In my mind, Ilya is still the BMF, guys. I mean, he literally beat Charles, knocked him unconscious. You can't tell me that that's the BMF. It's literally Ilya. So for the fact of the matter, Virna, to me, beat Mackenzie Dern. She is the champ. This was her first title defense. She's just a 3 round queen. It just happens to be. No, but it, she's so dominant. I mean, guys, she's so good for her advanced age. Thinker actually is one of the advocates of bringing up that women's age. They age a little different in the combat sports world. You can still be competent, you can still be effective, and you can still be dominant at an advanced age. Virna is showcasing just that. And I don't know if it's just because she has like she's kind of got like that puppy dog. Like when you look at her, she's just adorable. She's over here speaking English, and she wants the rematch. She wants Mackenzie Dern. God damn it. Give her the rematch. And I agree with it. I appreciate her for calling it out, because people are going to tell me I'm stupid for calling it out and saying, no, she won that fight, give her the rematch, right? If she don't call it out for herself, nobody else will except me. So Virna, me and you, girl, me and you, appreciate you.
I love it. I mean, I'm okay with that part. I'm also, even though you are entirely wrong about your take about Virna beating Mackenzie Dern, I still like the enthusiasm because I like Virna and I think that she has potential to be champ even still. So I am okay with this incorrect line of thinking. But when it came to this fight specifically, yeah, I mean, I said that really, Ricci had a few moments of success here and there with her striking, but this was the Virna show as expected. Virna set the record for most top control in women's strawweight history with this fight. That's a nice little feather in that little cap that she wears, that little specific hat of hers. So, I mean, this is just what Virna does. Like, I mean, Virna, even if I don't think she won that fight, I do think that she is champion caliber. And it just takes being the winner of that specific fight to obtain that. So whether it's now, whether it's later, I think that Virna does have potential still. And until she does do it, the once and future champ kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm seeing out of Virna Jandiroba. So I mean, I thought that Tabitha had her success in the third round a little bit there. She actually got her own takedown in that round, which was a little bit surprising. But, Virna wanted to strike in the third. Ricci had answers for that, but it was just a little too late kind of thing. Virna is always going to find a way when it comes to grappling. So if you allow her to do that for 2 rounds, you better be out there to finish a fight in that third round, which Ricci did not do. So just was not active enough with the opportunities that she did have, is what I said about Tabitha Ricci. If you're working out of grappling exchanges for half a round, you need to be finding the strikes in the other half, and she was not.
I think what always is so interesting to me is like, so the regions can be so large, right? And we have so many different options of cultural hats. You know, Virna comes in with the one and only hat like this. Like, is she part of some like? Is she a lineage of some unseen deep cut kind of deal? Like, is she the only hat wearer of this left? Like, I don't know. I just appreciate her for pulling out the cap, and it's a very good one. I would love to know more about the hat. I just love it.
I mean, if you listen to Jeremy Hall, he says it looks like a beekeeper hat without the netting. But yeah, no,
Are we saying that's bad? It looks
I would,
fire.
yeah, I say, aura is aura one way or another. Yeah, no, it is unique to her, and I can't believe that she is, the last of some ancient hat wearing tribe of some sort with this, but she is the only one wearing it. Same as our dude. Oh my God, I'm for Rock.
Ramiz.
Ramiz, yes, Ramiz Brahimai, exactly. Ramiz with the nipple hat. Like, I mean, there have to be more people wearing these hats, but none in the UFC. So that's you.
There's a story about the hats. Like, there has to be a reason that the hat was shaped that way for him specifically. Virna, it's like, oh, okay, it was just a, nice little decorative piece. We got things hanging, bucket. Why does it look like a nipple? Just tell me what was the point for it to have, like
And why also do we have so many Moroccans in the UFC, and I have never once seen an actual legitimate fez? Like the one that Abu wears in Aladdin.
a fez is pretty good. I
I've
like
never
that.
seen one, not one in the UFC, not a real deal one.
Too
So
stereotypical, dude. I mean, come on.
but that's culture, man. Like this, I mean, if we're talking about Virna pulling in the deep cuts for her helmet, I mean, like I want to see, I want to see them all. I love the hats, bro. I'm telling you, I want to see somebody in a jester hat. I want to see somebody rocking. Bro, we got to get somebody rocking the Gamma beanie. I mean,
We
come on.
we got the Mongolian where he wears like the entire fur belt
True.
with him, like that's I
Him
appreciate him.
and Brendan Allen, because Brendan Allen got one from Shavkat. I know the lore.
True. Yeah, nice. Appreciate. Actually, is that true? I
That's
kind of
legitimately true.
I read Brendan Allen wearing the muskrat hat as like, oh, he's like a fan of like the fucking pioneer age, like the felt fur kind of
Dave
era of America.
Crockett. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
that's
pulling
what
a
I
Davy
got.
Crockett.
Yeah,
No, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I had read that he got one of them from Shavkat and had been wearing it ever since. It was a gift from Shavkat.
nice. I love it.
But either way, hat game aside, it all just goes back to Virna Jandiroba taking this thing 29-28. That is the correct call. Tabitha Ricci takes that third round, but not enough to win the fight. And Virna Jandiroba stays being the next in line for that title. I mean, like, it's unfortunate that that was not the narrative. It's unfortunate that it was not the narrative that there should be a rematch between the two of them, because if that had been the prevailing narrative in the community, it probably would be what they'd be queuing up.
I don't blame them, but they're gonna milk Mackenzie Dern having that belt for as long as they can because she's an attractive woman. She makes the UFC look like they have hot women that can just win fights, kind of deal. So it is what it
True.
is.
Indeed. Yes, I also like wear a Viking helmet to the cage. Jeremy, I love it.
Hmm.
All right. Well, let's move on to the main event of this thing. Close this card out. Hinata Moicano, he fought Chris Duncan. This was not a great showing for Chris Duncan. This was not a good look for Mr. Duncan in this one. He looked slow. He looked apprehensive. He looked unsure of himself in this fight. The first round, I thought he might have been scaling for late game since it was a 5-rounder, which I said at the time, I was like, if that's what he's doing, I'm not mad at it. It is a 5-round fight. We had not seen him in a 5-round fight in the UFC before. That was not the case, or at least not to be if it was the case. What did you think of this, Chase?
I would really like Jeremy Hall to take, I would like him to listen to what I'm saying and give his opinion because I genuinely wouldn't know, but I would like to believe that the training partner, not them per se training with each other, but sharing training partners that they would then train with that would be able to emulate the style of their training partner. Obviously they're in close quarters, everybody knows each other kind of thing. They may not be training together per se, but they train with the guy who trained with him and he knows what he trains like. And I think that unfortunately did make a big difference here. I remember we went back a while ago and I remember asking you, I think it was the Cody Durden and Bruno Silva fight, and I asked you, what do you think about the teammates fight? Did you think that will play a difference? And you said no. And then Bruno Silva, knocked him out, of course. This fight right here, you cannot tell me that Renato Moicano didn't know every fucking step. He didn't know every move that Chris Duncan was going to make in this fight. He walked out there and he knew immediately Chris Duncan was going to throw the low kick because he checked it and it was like over right there, bro. As soon as he started checking the low kick, I mean, Chris Duncan he was obviously not expecting that and looked a little apprehensive. Looked like he was definitely slow to start. Yes, scaling for late game, but Moicano, and people are going to sit here and be like, yeah, people forget, man. Moicano's pretty good. He looked like a tactician on the feet, and that's not really what he is, unfortunately. We've seen him go against strikers, and he doesn't necessarily have the greatest stand up game. But when you have the entire playbook, I mean, you're gonna look pretty fucking good if you have every answer predetermined, kind of deal.
Well, see, that's the yeah, no, that's the thing here is I think that I was maybe looking at the question a little bit differently. When I talk about teammates fighting each other, I am always coming from the perspective of are they going to have any pre-existing feelings about their person that they're fighting to the point of being like, yeah, it's hard for me to beat this guy up kind of thing. What you're saying, that's a whole different version of this, and that is tracking tremendously well in this fight. Absolutely. And also just the fact that they're not even just teammates. Like this is not one of those situations where like they train together a couple of times or something. They are both ATT guys, and ATT is its own system. Now, granted, it's a big system, so that was my whole thing. Was it's like how often were they actually like training together to the point where he would be able to predict all of the movements? That I didn't necessarily think was going to be the case, but it's like if you are in the same circuit with the same basic set of coaches, the same basic fundamentals that are being taught and drilled all the time. I think it really was on Chris Duncan to not be the same guy that he was from that training. But how can you not be that guy? So yes, this is actually kind of a sneaky move on Renato Moicano's part because apparently he was the one that really wanted this fight.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to think that this is what we saw. It even goes down to, I mean, you have a corner of a team, and then the other corner is also portioned of that team. So you have the corners battling each other, and Hanato Moicano has the body triangle locked in. He's got Chris Duncan's back, and Chris Duncan's coach yells "surprise elbow." So he throws the wildest fucking elbow, obviously was going to do nothing, but I have never seen Renato Moicano slip in a choke quicker. I mean, I have never seen him just instantly have something. I have also never seen Chris Duncan tap as quickly as he did. Now, to be fair, he got his nose broken. Now, this is not something that you can plan for. I said this with Nicholas Dalby fight, Sean Strickland as well. A nose break can happen, and you have two options. You either just go balls to the wall or you accept your fate and you're going to lose later. So I think Chris Duncan realized nose was broken, leaking all over the place. He didn't have many options. As soon as the choke got in there, I mean, he can't breathe out of his nose, so he's probably dying, is what he thinks. So it sucks because he didn't have many options. He was going to lose later because of the nose break, is probably the case. But Hanato Moicano being able to just have this fight memorized it was almost, it felt choreographed, bro. Like it seemed like Moicano had every answer, bro. Like the chess moves, he was Magnus Carlsen, dude, and he was just out there. And and I think that is kind of maybe the way that he kind of wanted it to be. I think he kind of knew that he could beat Chris Duncan kind of deal. And that's crazy to think. I mean, obviously you don't know for sure, but he obviously had a level of confidence that I could beat Chris Duncan. I have a way that I could do it. I've seen it before. I've faced a lot of different people kind of deal. And he kind of skated away looking like he's some epic fucking warrior, which he is. This was a great performance from Renato. Obviously, the way that he did it, amazing. But I'm just saying it feels a little phony that he won by negating everything because he probably had already known that was going to happen. Oh, if he shifts his hip this way, he's going for the low kick. Just turn your outward. Like if he fakes like he's going like this, no, he's going to go the other way. If he puts his head here, he goes for the high kick. Anything like that. All these things you could pick up on. And who knows, guys, who knows who's in contact with who at the gym? They record probably all the shit there. Like the security cameras, that is. Hanato Moicano probably knows the dude in the fucking videotape room, and whether he got training footage with Chris Duncan, he's got all the footage of Chris Duncan training in the exact gym that he trains with as well. You know, like what was off limits here? You know, what exactly is the circumstance? You know, would the team not allow their team to train as best as they could for a fight? You know, like if I have access to see live training of Chris Duncan for 3 hours a day, why would I not utilize it if I'm going to be fighting him? You know, like
I mean, yeah, there is. I would think that it's like I would think for the benefit of your other student, you wouldn't be doing that. If I was Chris Duncan and I found out that they were doing that
he
against,
could do it too, though.
well,
I mean,
I wouldn't be cool with either side doing that. I mean, like if
but
I found out that I was fighting someone in that gym and my training people were like, "Yo, come on and watch tape of him or watch this hidden camera footage of him," I'd be like, "Yo, that's a."
it's not hidden camera footage. I mean, it's just the security footage of the gym. I
I
mean,
don't know. It seems underhanded. It definitely does not seem like something that I would be okay with
no,
partaking in, or having them partake in.
definitely a stretch. Obviously, it's not something that probably happened, but I mean, these are things that you got to think about for how well Moicano knew this fucking fight. Like, I
For
mean,
sure. No, I definitely do agree. But what I would counter with is, there are fighters. Hamzat, again, I referenced Hamzat earlier. I'll reference him again here. There are fighters that you know exactly what they're going to do, and they still are able to do it anyway. That sadly, I mean, like, we all know that you're going to be kicking. We all know you're going to be punching in the end of the day. I mean, like, we all know the basics of what you're going to be doing. Now, granted, you have to be the one to make it more, more unique, more unexpected with an advantage like Moicano had. That was certainly going to be an uphill battle. But bro, it's like it's the same with fouls, same with any other thing that people get away with or whatever. It's like if he's got the playbook, you got to be able to fight through him knowing the playbook. I mean, like, because really for me, and the reason I'm saying all of this is I'm not disagreeing. I think it is definitely a scummy move. I don't like Hanato Moicano. To be perfectly honest, I think that this guy is. I don't like him on the mic, and things like this certainly don't help my impression of him either. I think that his whole mic shtick has gotten very insufferable. But what I say to this is that Duncan looked like he was having trouble finding the entry points, even though Moicano was giving them to him somewhat readily. Moicano was not super active on his feet. You can say that that's because he knew where he was going to be moving, so he didn't have to be. Perfectly fine. But he wasn't doing any kind of strafing or anything like that. He was right in his face, pumping the jab out there. I guess Moicano definitely picked up on the fact that Duncan is a little bit weak to the jab because Duncan was searching for what was right in front of his face, which was the entry for his own strikes. That to me is part of the problem here, dude. It's like, yeah, he could know every single play in the book. You hit him with something that he's not expecting, or all of what he's expecting in a volume that that he can't keep up with. Then there you go. I mean, then there at least is a path to victory for you. I just did not see a Chris Duncan even coming into this fight like he just did not look like he was in this fight. Period.
I hate to say this, and this is not me, you know, trying to sway you in any other way, you know, the audience out there, there it is, but it just is unfortunate reality that Patty the Batty took a 5 round ass whooping from Justin Gaethje. Chris Duncan gets finished in 2 rounds by Hanato Moicano. I mean, what does that say for what we thought we knew? I thought Chris Duncan was one of the better prospects that we've seen right now. Patty the Batty obviously is decent, but that's a hot shotting kind of prospect. He got humbled by Justin Gaethje. We all expected him to do this. You know, obviously Chris Duncan got humbled as well, but this is just an unfortunate reality that I don't know shit sometimes, guys. Anything can happen at the top of the game.
I was so not believing my ears when I was listening to the 10-7 talk about this, saying, "Oh, Chris Duncan is not really that good. All he's got is heart. He doesn't really have a lot of technicality." I'm like, I've seen this guy go to war with Mateusz Rąbeczki. I mean, that speaks volumes to me. And then for this to be the outcome, I mean, like, I guess it all tracks. And that is one of those ones that it's like, no matter how good you think this sport, it will always throw you curveballs, I suppose. So, I mean, and again, Moicano coming off of the Dariush fight, that's the other thing that we're comparing here. Like, good Lord, I do not know how this ends up being the outcome based on those two previous predictors, but somehow this is the position that we're in. Maybe Chris Duncan was never that good. It's time to have the conversation, perhaps.
It's just unfortunate. Chris Duncan, the problem. He's definitely caused a bunch of problems in this lightweight division by keeping Hanato Moicano around and not showcasing yourself as a legit threat at the top. I mean, it's unfortunate. The good news is, hear me out. Chris Duncan has been one of these guys that Vegas has dangled free money in front of you for the longest time. The fact that he just lost in the main event leads you to believe that he's probably going to be the underdog again for the next performance. Take the money. Take it right now.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think that there are definitely plenty more victories for him in the future. It's just very unfortunate that it was not this one because, yeah, now we have to sit through more Renato Moicano Mike moments. And I'm telling you, this last one was just, I mean, like, dude, I'm getting so done with this guy. Like, it was fun when he was talking about his dad having kids at 60 or whatever, but the shit he is talking about now is just psychobabble nonsense. I'm like, bro, please shut up. I'm done with you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely. I mean, you're Hanato Moicano is an interesting character. He just gets on the mic and rambles, and he talks about how he's got a podcast now and he
That's what I
makes
was
his
going to
own
say too.
money and
And,
yada
and
yada.
yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Like that's the thing that gets me about it too. He's one of those dudes that is like a core group that's going to hear the dumb shit that he rambles and be like, hell yeah, I'm definitely tuning in for that. And it's like, you know what? Fine, you can have him, bro. But I'm like, you're certainly not making a fan out of me anymore. He even said himself, "Fuck the fans." It's like, okay, well then, fuck you too, pal. Like, I mean, like,
Well,
I get it. It's like, yeah, it's like even that's funny. I get,
well,
I
no,
know.
they booed the shit out of. I was honestly even wondering that. Like he walked into the match and they booed the fuck out of him in the audience.
Eh,
I have.
Duncan had family there, you know.
Yeah, but it was like a lot of fucking people, it was loud as hell. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, damn, why are they booing him? Like, what did he do to deserve booing? And I'm normally not like that, fuck it. Let's bring on the booze. But like Moicano is not somebody that I would say like deserves the booze. I mean, if you hate him for his little babble, it's like I still don't think you'd
Oh
boo
yeah,
him,
yeah, yeah. No, no, I agree with that. Yeah, honestly, I guess I didn't notice that they were booing super loud, so maybe that was
It,
on me.
yeah, it was definitely loud. So at the end, when he said "fuck the fans," I was like, "Oh, okay, I get it." They did boo him, when he walked in there, and he just upset the crowd. So fuck it.
Fair enough. Then all right, I'll take that one back. But either way, all this other nonsense that he's talking about, his religious diatribes. It's like, how many more fucking fighters do we need going out there and telling us that Jesus is the way? I'm like, dude, whatever you believe in your personal life is fine, and even if you wanted to say it in the cage, it's fine too. But like, like it's well worn territory. It's trite, as they would say at this point.
I I just don't know if I'm liking the teammates fighting thing. I think I would not prefer that to happen anymore unless it's the Marab and Aljo situation where they're the top of the division, they should fight each other and you need to go to different camps. Like I don't want to ever have two people who have trained together and that they're also just splitting up their camp to train for the fights. And I get it's a little short notice, kind of just had to make it on the fly because Brian Ortega pulled out once again. But yeah, let's not have teammates fight anymore, guys, unless they're ex teammates, former teammates kind of deal. I don't like
Yeah,
this.
it's just tough. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation. Like you said, if it is the absolute like top, then of course that's going to have to be. But then, how many times are we going to have people being able to be somewhat selective or matchmaking be somewhat selective? I mean, we're still waiting to figure out where the hell Nasruddin Imavov is. He's the rightful heir to the title shot, and he is nowhere to be found. And most people think it's because of religious reasons. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It
100%.
just it causes more problems than it maybe is worth, I guess is what I'm saying. But if this is the outcome, I agree with the thought process.
You know what I find unfortunate, and I think it's stuff like this that just makes you think. So Chris Duncan before this fight, he said it would be cool to get a custom pair of shorts. How about you win your fucking fight, bro? You're worried about the goddamn color of your shorts. You are worried about the pattern on your fucking shorts, and then you lose the fight. That's just what makes me mad sometimes. It's like in your mind, you had you had it locked in. There was no question in your mind. Nah, let's worry about the fucking shorts. Let's get fucking fitted. Like I gotta put on my birthday best suit kind of deal. It's like, bro, just go fucking fight, man. You say the guy that we're gonna talk about in the main event. I've never once for next week. I've never once heard Yuri Prohaska ask for a pair of shorts. You know why? Because he don't give a fucking shit. He's not even looking. He's not looking down. Like, god damn, just go out
Oh
there.
yeah. I mean, dude, it's the same mindset as fighters asking for bonuses, bro. You go and make yourself earned the bonus. Like
Hmm.
if your performance is worthy of a bonus, you won't have to ask.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
granted, we've seen a lot of wonkiness with that too, but still, you're not doing yourself any favors by asking also. So go out there and make the performance worthy of it. Get the community talking about your performance to the point that they know that you deserved it. You'll at least get it the next time.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, asking and not performing, never a good combination. All right. Either way, that brings us to the end of this one. UFC Fight Night Moicano versus Duncan at the Apex. Chase, your final thoughts on this card after talking it through.
This was a wonky one, but there was a lot of good portions in it, and I don't want to say that it didn't live up. I don't want to say this was a bad card just because it ended on a bad note, kind of deal, on a low point. That was a big upset. That is a crazy upset to end on, whether it's the person you wanted to win or not. The way he did it was emphatic, and that was capped off after a pretty good main card. I really liked this one. I thought this was good. The Apex normally delivers.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I thought that this was great. Had I not been sick as a dog by the end of it, I would have really loved this one. It came into this card feeling great and ended up feeling real bad. But as far as the fighting goes, I was very happy with it. I thought that there were some really standout performances like Ethan Ewing on there and Yakyayev. I mean, there was a lot to be happy with about this card. I was very okay with the quality.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that all being said, then we've got a big numbered event coming up this weekend here. Of course, UFC 327 is Prohashka versus Ulberg. This is in Miami, and we already talked about it earlier in the podcast, but co-main event is off. Josh Van versus Tatsuro Taira has been moved to UFC 328. So now we've got Yuri Prohashka and Carlos Ulberg. We do not know if there's going to be another new co-main event. I think that they're pretty solidly locked in with Paulo Costa and Azmat Mirzakhanov being the co-main. But we'll see if they add anything else to spice this thing up. We will, of course, be going off of the fights that are on here. But before we get into this card, Chase, what were our totals from last week?
Gotcha. And they were bad. So we're going to get into it.
All right.
So you had gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 correct
Oh, great.
out of I think there was 14, I believe.
13 on this
13.
one, I think. Yeah.
And then so I had gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It wasn't the worst. We picked a lot of them that were, the same, and that was unfortunately at your fault because I got most of them wrong. So you taking picks down with me. It's crazy. And
I'm not necessarily going off of you, though. You got
well,
to
I know,
understand this.
I know, but the ones that you didn't pick the same, you definitely hit. So shout out to you on those ones. But we did all right. I don't think anybody did good for a week like this. This is another one where the main event just fucking fucked us all up. So
And what are our current totals in total?
in total, I have 88. You have 73.
All right. I mean, still making small improvements here, perhaps, but
This is
long
our
ways
week.
to go. Yeah,
We're both
exactly.
gonna go undefeated.
We are locking in here. Well, we'll see. I mean, this is a scary one to start out with for that then. Of course, first fight of the evening, or not first fight, the main event of the evening, I should say. Yuri Prohashka versus Carlos Ulberg. I mean, I think that everybody is in the same boat here, but are we all getting snowed by the lack of personality by Carlos Ulberg is what I'm talking about.
Obviously, Yuri is going to come out here and do his thing. Olberg is one of the more uninteresting fighters that is in the promotion. If he gets the belt, I mean, it's just going to be like when Ankalaev had the belt. Nobody really pays attention. Nobody's excited for the heavyweight division to move on, kind of deal. Yuri Prohashka is the type of dude that you want to win this fight. But the immediate thing that I think is going to be a problem, and this is me being real and unfortunately truthful. I think Carlos Ulberg is able to stay on the outside and low kick, and Yuri Prohaska does not check low kicks. He has 5 rounds to go. He was already getting ate up with low kicks by Rakic, by Khalil. List goes on. Alex. Yuri's going to struggle. He has yet to struggle with that enough to where he loses, of course, other than Alex, but I think it's going to be a real problem if Olberg is able to, it only takes that one. You saw with Azamat Bekayev right at the end of the beginning of the third, he gets kicked a couple times and then boom, now he's hobbling and it's like, all right, now the fight's really fucking over. So if Yuri gets kicked wrong once, if he thinks he can take it and just doesn't check it, and now he's fucking limping for the rest of the fight, it could be a long fight. But Yuri is the type of Chad that even with that possibility, I would never ever bet against this guy. This guy is the epitome of madness. He deserves the belt. He's not somebody who's here to be a superstar. He's not here to have a good time. He is here because he wants to be the best mixed martial artist at the light heavyweight division in the UFC. He's fighting for the belt because the belt means something to him. It doesn't mean anything to anybody else. Hamzat just came out more recently and said, I'm not really, why would I care if I'm inactive? I'm making millions of dollars now. I have all these sponsorships because I'm the champion. It's like, yeah, we fucking get it. You're a Anyway,
Yeah.
Yuri would never do something like that. He wants the belt because that means there is nobody on planet Earth that could beat him in the light heavyweight division competition. And he cares about competition. That's what this is about. It is mixed martial arts, and he wants to be the best. And beating Carlos Ulberg right now proves to the world that he is the best in the light heavyweight division.
Yeah, I mean, you're making very good points there, but my counter to all of that would be that Carlos Ulberg is also that guy to an extent. We just don't know or care. And I look, I mean, I'm only saying this to play devil's advocate here. I mean, Ulberg is a dude who goes out there and wins fights very quietly because he just wants to fight and be the best himself. He's a guy who does not have much personality, but what he does is go and win fights. That's why he is 14-1. That is why he is in this position that he is in right now. The difference, I would say, is that Yuri Prohashka has done his thing against the best in the world at a level that I don't think Carlos Ulberg has ever really even touched at this point. I mean, compared to what Yuri Prohashka has been through in fights, Yuri is a battle-tested, grizzled veteran at this point who's seen everything that you could possibly get thrown at you. He is, I mean, now granted, the problem with that mentality though is that Yuri, for as much as I love this guy, and I certainly do, he never seems to learn. He
Mhm.
don't seem to learn shit. Yuri does not change anything about his style. He comes in and does the exact same things. He makes the exact same mistakes over and over again. So I'm saying that I can also not pick against Yuri Prohashka. It would make me very I mean I think that it would be ridiculous to think that that knowing what Yuri is capable of, to go against him would feel like the wrong move on my part. But what I am saying is that I would not be surprised if Carlos Ulberg pulls off a performance that surprises a lot of people because no one knows or cares about him. He's just like he's an under the radar guy, and like sometimes those are the most deadly guys. This guy he's got finishing power too. We've seen him finish people, so it's like this is not like some harmless decision merchant guy that's just going to come in here and make it a boring fight. He's just a boring human being.
Mhm.
His fight style is as good as anybody's fight style. At least it has a puncher's chance. And Yuri making every single mistake. If he has done even an ounce of tape research, he will know all of the holes in Yuri's game because we all know all the holes in Yuri's game. Like you said, does not check low kicks, goes out there like with like a banshee, just throwing crazy wild shots, open for counters. I mean, like the movement is always very stilted with Yuri until he decides that it's not going to be. Turns up late in the fight. If this guy can put him down and keep him down for or in the second round, who knows if Yuri's able to flip the switch in the third or fourth round. Like these are the problems that I wrestle with. At the end of the day, I am going to take Yuri Prohashka in this fight, but I'm just saying be aware that if Carlos Ulberg shocks the world, all of what I'm saying will track at that point.
Olberg has been knocked out by Kennedy and Chezuku. That is his only loss in pro mixed martial arts, and
When
that was a while ago. That was a couple, handful of years ago. I can't tell you exactly, right off the top of my head. But the point is all of the things that you're saying is correct, and Yuri has all of his faults. But the fact of the matter, he's only been finished by one person, and that one in the UFC, of course, one person, and that one person finished him twice. Anybody else, as many things as went their way in the fight, as many times as they thought that they were going to win, as many times as we thought Yuri was done and out, he somehow pulls it off. Olberg lost to Kennedy in 2021. So, I mean, five
yeah,
years ago, but.
Fair, and I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Prohashka has pulled out victories against the absolute best, except for potentially one of the greatest to ever do it. So, I
Yeah,
mean, this is, it perfectly tracks on all of that. It's really just about Olberg maybe having more to the equation that we have not given him the credit that he might have. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, because a lot of things change over that course of time. Yuri also, gets a little bit older, perhaps. I mean, he's not older. He's 34 years old. He's perfectly prime right now. I mean, this is the exact time for him to be the champion. Um, I'm just saying that there is potential for a major upset that no one is going to see coming because this guy don't talk much.
yeah. True,
But I am still going with Fury Proshka because yes, it just seems crazy to bet against him knowing what he has overcome.
true.
So,
Yep.
all right, we're locking it in. We're locking it in. In the new co-main event, of course, Azamat Murzakanov is fighting Paulo Costa. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I personally. You know what? Paulo Costa won 4 rounds against Sean Strickland. So what I would like to believe is that he could take a round off as Matt Mirzakhanov, but Mirzakhanov, I think he did make a fan out of me last fight. And it does seem like there's a little beef going into this. So maybe that's another reason why it rose to the co-main is maybe they're expecting some crazy firefight out of this. But I'm gonna go ahead and take. I'm gonna take Asmat. I'm gonna go ahead and take him here. Israel Adesanya was able to drop Paulo Costa. So if Asmat can land clean, which if Paulo plays the outside and doesn't even engage like he did with the Sean Strickland, I mean it's probably not going to be possible. And maybe Asmat gasses out. Oh shit, God, maybe I'm 16-0, and I felt like that was still fluky before. Paulo Costa, though, man, let me hear what you have to say. Go ahead.
Ah, I have never been sold on Paulo Costa's skill set. I think that he has been Mr. Favorable matchmaking, except in the fights that he proved that he was going to lose and then did lose those fights. I've always thought Paulo Costa was physique over substance. I've always thought that he was memes over substance. I think that he has gotten every advantage outside of the cage and then fumbled every advantage that he has inside of the cage. I have never been a fan of this guy. For that reason, Mirzakhanov hasn't proved me wrong yet. The one time that I thought he was going to have any kind of opposition, he did not, even though I felt kind of similar about Rakic, but Rakic, proved me right on that point. So I am going with Azamat Mirzakhanov, no ifs, ands, or buts.
I'm gonna make it interesting because I'm gonna take Paula. Paulo.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and take him. I'm gonna say that he'll dance around Asmat for as long as he needs. And then Mirzakhanov, another guy who popped for steroids, got a lot of probably favorable matchups up until he got to the UFC. Even in the UFC, these are favorable matchups. Um, I finally think that we're gonna get some scandalous shit going on. Either Paulo finishes him, or the judges are gonna give it to him. Either way, I'm gonna go ahead and take Costa.
Yeah, I mean, I will certainly grant you that there is potential for judges fuckery with that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I will definitely grant that. But I think that Azamat probably has to hunt him down for a little while, and if Paulo tries to play the wrestle fuck game, it is going to go very badly for him. Yeah, I think really it's gonna there is definitely potential for a Strickland repeat with Paulo playing the outside because Paulo, if he does not get what he wants out of a fight, will go into retreat mode. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what the judges play with in their own minds based on what they're getting out of the fight. But I think that if Mirzakhanov gets the shot that he's looking for, then Paulo Costa probably goes out.
I'm gonna take Paulo Costa to pull off a vintage eraser performance. We're gonna go ahead and take him.
So Paulo by decision then.
Yes.
All right, I'm taking Mirzakhanov by. Yeah, this is a 3-round fight. I'm taking him by decision too. Actually, I think Paulo's going to run, and he's going to have to chase him down.
You want me to mark this in the? You want me to mark by decision down?
Nah, you don't have to, but I
Okay.
mean, if you want to start doing that, we can. But I don't particularly like doing that.
Nah, we're fine.
Ups and downs is all I really care about. Honestly, I don't even really care about that too much, but we do it on the show, so there
True.
you go. All right, next up is Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett. I did see 10-7 in the chat saying that he thinks that this is fraud check city for Mr. Hokett. What do you think?
I'm also somewhat leaning towards Curtis Blades. I think one thing I do know about Curtis Blades, and this is what I just realized. The reach is pretty crazy. 80-inch to 73. Now I normally don't take this into account. I normally don't care too much. But Curtis Blades has a pretty good jab. He has a really good 1-2. So if Josh Hokett stands in front of him, he will get blasted with the 1-2, just like Tom Aspinall was, kind of deal, even before the fight started. The first fight, that is. Curtis Blades, again, a very good 1-2 blast down the pipe, and he has the wrestling to back it up. If Josh Hokett thinks he's going to shoot, Curtis Blades probably is able to out wrestle him. Hopefully, if he, if we're in front of each other, obviously, if we have some extenuating circumstances, I mean, anything's possible. But Curtis Blades is still hanging around. He didn't, it's not like he quit against Kunaev and actually, skated away with the split decision win. His last performance, I can't even remember who it was now that I think about it. Was it not the?
Was it? It wasn't Kunaev. I believe he
Uh,
had another one.
I think he had to have. Let me double check real quick. No,
No.
it was the
Yeah. It was,
Kunaev one. Okay, but I'm gonna take Curtis Blades here. I'm definitely gonna take Blades. I think he might even be able to get the same sort of finish that he did against Jailton. I think that if Josh Hokett commits to a takedown, Blades might be able to just elbow the shit out of him.
all right, I like it. I am going to take Josh Hokett in this fight. I am not a huge fan of him on the microphone, but everything that I have seen out of Josh Hokett has been signaling to me that he very well might be next up at heavyweight. Only because he has cardio. That's my main point. He actually has cardio for a heavyweight. Now, granted, there have been times later on in fights that maybe it gets a little bit tested, but he can at least make it clearly and definitively through round one without gassing out. For a heavyweight, that's saying something. So cardio is there for him, what we've seen. His wrestling is actually like legitimate wrestling. This, again, this is one of the things about Curtis Blades that I've said Curtis Blades casts a level 5 charm spell on people, making them believe that he is some kind of phenom wrestler. He has wrestling, specifically wrestling, but it never transitions into submissions. It never transitions to the grappling and finally to the submission. So can he overcome the wrestling? He can probably contend with it, but I think that Hokett actually comes in with a quality wrestling acumen. You pair that with some legitimately decent striking, which we have seen some knockouts out of this guy. I think that the way that you approached it, Chase, by highlighting Blades' his striking, that's the exact right way to look at it, because I think that they're both going to think wrestling negates on this one. So it's probably going to be striking. If Blades with his longer reach can make that work for him, then perfectly fine. I think that is a fine mindset to have. I think that the speed of Hokett early on in this fight is what's going to be able to make him capitalize. I think he also wants it really bad. And, I know that that's not necessarily a metric that means a whole hell of a lot, but for whatever reason, and when it comes to a fighter like him, I think he leans on his determination a little bit more. He's been a guy that seems like he really wants to raise the ranks. He knows what this opportunity means. I'm going with the hot shot over here.
I think it's just going to be one of those times where I said, while you were sitting there thinking of something stupid to fucking say on the mic, you didn't even get the opportunity because you were not training hard enough to beat Curtis Blades.
Fair
So,
enough, and we will see if that's the case. But I mean, Curtis Blades being the legitimate gatekeeper at this point, if that is what he is becoming, then I'm not mad at that. And if he is going to close the gates on a bunch of these guys, then that's okay too.
yeah.
So again, I don't want it to give the impression that I don't like Curtis Blades, because it's really not the case. I think he's actually a really good guy, and like as a person, I've just seen too many holes in the game, and I've been let down by him too many times to put my backing on him. I think that Hokett's shown me a lot of great things. So
What I'm hoping for at best is that Hokett puts on a performance that showcases his cardio, of course, and we get a decision, and it doesn't really drop his stock all that much if he loses. I want to see a decent fight where it shows that, okay, Hokett can stand with the best of them. He may not be able to beat them just yet because he's still a little immature, still green. But once we hammer in, once he locks in, once he's humbled, then we're going to be able to find something really good with him. So I'm going to take Curtis Blades here, and you're taking Hokett.
I am, and I like your thought process though. We
Yeah.
we shall see. But yeah, I'm good with it. I'm solid.
Oh yeah.
All right, and of course for the 5 of you still listening to us after our unfortunate disconnection. If you like the opinions of one or the other of us more, make sure that you go to whichever channel you are watching this on. We are, of course, streaming to our individual channels, and like the stream that has the better takes.
Hell yeah.
All right. Next up is Dominic Reyes. He is fighting Johnny Walker. This is a hard one to pick, honestly, right here.
I know who I'm gonna pick, and I really like my reasoning because at first I believed Dominic Reyes, the striking is just levels above Johnny Walker. He'll be able to keep it on the feet. If Johnny wants to try to use the takedown that did against Zhang, it's not going to work. Dominic Reyes will defend that. But here's the caveat: Dominic Reyes just got knocked out. Just got knocked out on a big career resurgence. He was thinking it was done. He had nothing left to give. He's at the commentary booth. He has this big comeback, streak, kind of a little favoritism when it came to it, of course. Now he gets knocked out again. I truly believe that he's going to be at a low point again. This is somebody who takes his career very seriously. Once he takes one loss, he got screwed over by John Jones, and his career was never the same. He had never mentally recovered from this. He gets knocked out by Dustin Jacoby. I think it is in perfect fashion for Johnny Walker to have a Dominic Reyes who is unsure of how to beat Johnny fucking Walker. I'm going to take Johnny Walker on this one.
Crazy. I mean, I don't dislike the thought process. I think that I'm also leaning towards Walker more because I think that Walker presents more challenges for Reyes. His unorthodoxness might be a little bit confusing to Reyes early in the fight. And going back to the unfortunate truth that Dominic Reyes, he's paper at times, man. I mean, he is easy to punch through at times. And if fucking goofy ass Johnny Walker can sneak and snake his way through a fight to get himself into a position to touch that chin, then it can be over. Now, of course, Johnny Walker, also a guy who is easy to, a swift breeze knocks out Johnny Walker as well. So, I mean, I think that this is really a bit of a toss up in my own mind, but for wiliness alone, I think I'm going to go with Johnny Walker on this. I'm not super confident in it. But I mean, basically what you're saying about Dominic Reyes, doubting himself at this point, it's not like it couldn't track. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the case or not, but it certainly sounds plausible enough. And based on my own opinions on Johnny Walker's kind of craftiness, I think that I will also go with Johnny Walker.
I was sincerely hoping that I was pulling the big brain play out and you were going to call Johnny Walker, kind of Angela Hill pick kind of guy that you wouldn't want to put money on him because he's so uncertain.
Yeah, I mean that's also part of it, but Johnny Walker is the same. I mean, like that's the thing. Like both of these guys, this is why this is a super hard fight for me to really like dig down into and find an actual like method for either of these guys because either of them could just touch each other's chin and both they could double knock each other out. This could be a double
True.
knockout.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, basically, I'm going off of the idea that Johnny Walker, with his unconventional movement, is going to be the decision maker here.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next up, then, my guy Cub Swanson is coming back to fight Nate Landwehr, Nate the Train, the other train. I have said many times I hate that Cub Swanson is coming back. He is one of my all-time favorite fighters. He was retired. I do not know why he thinks he needs to come back for one more.
Miami.
Whatever, dude.
He was in Miami last year, wasn't he? I think that's where
Tampa.
he retired.
Tampa.
Oh, Florida still.
Yeah,
close
right.
enough.
He's a California guy, so I don't really know why that has anything to do with anything. But I mean, either way though, it's like, dude, you had the picture, you had the storybook retirement without any fuckery. Like there is no need for this.
I said this, and I was joking about Aldo earlier, but sometimes the foot is still in the door, but a name, it could really intrigue you. Like, man, we could put on, like, with Billy Quarantino or whatever. That was like fight of the night, fight of the year, knockout of the year, whatever you want to say. Like, it was a good fight. People remember Cub Swanson for that. Like, I personally, when I saw that fight, I got it. Like, I could see how this dude could have a career of people backing him. They want to see that kind of deal. This fight right here, he probably saw Nate Landwehr's on the table and thought that could be and one of the more exciting fights of my career up until this point kind of deal. And that's a lot of people on the resume. But Nate Landwehr, this is fireworks. Like this is a fight where if you are somebody who will give it back, like Nate will make a war out of it. So I think when you see a name like this, sometimes the name just, your ears perk up here and like, that could mean big things for my career. Not necessarily Nate Landwehr is going to make Cub Swanson anything, but like putting on another entertaining war of a fight like that's only going to elevate you more. I mean, and if you're still wanting to do it, go for it, bro. They're
I
fucking whatever.
I guess, man. I mean, like, I just think that there's something for a graceful exit and being done. And this is you're playing with fire for no reason. But
Y-
okay, so what do you think is gonna happen in the fight?
I don't know necessarily. I've seen Nate get caught. I've seen him fuck up and get caught and fall over and get bloody and come back and win. So I'd be hesitant to say that this is going to be a win for Cub Swanson. So I'm going to go ahead and take Nate the Train. And I think this is going to be a lot easier of a pick because no matter the style, now Cub Swanson is for his age, very elusive, very quick, very fast, still has packs a punch, but keeps his hands very, very low. This is the thing when I went back to Ewo and Ebo Aslam. When I looked at the fight, I said, how could they have known that Ewo should have been the favorite? When you watch the fight, Evo hands down, Evo hands up. Chin tucked, chin out. I think this is exact right here. I mean, Nate Landwehr has a very high guard. He puts a lot of pressure on the front foot. If Cub Swanson is able to stay on the outside and kick his front leg, I mean, sure. But again, Cub Swanson leads with his hands down. He's 42 years old. Nate the Train is in the UFC and he's got the biggest left arm in whatever the fuck state he's in right now. So he's going to go ahead and win this one. I have no doubt on my mind.
Yeah, look at these guns, Nate. I look at these guns, Nate. Indeed. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm also taking Nate Landwehr. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I really to pick against one of my all-time favorite fighters hurts my heart. But what I was just doing there real quick because I had to double check who it was. But Cub Swanson has a win on his record against Hakeem Dawodu. That was a robbery win for Cub. That was late in his career, and then I believe that he has the loss to Andre Fili there as well. Um, these are not guys that are like, I mean, I say Hakeem Dawodu. When was the last time that you heard that name or recalled that name?
Never in my life.
Exactly. So that being said, Cub, you should have stayed retired, brother. There is no need for this. I think that this is an unnecessary return for absolutely there's no gain to this. Maybe you're going to get a little extra cash in your pocket to put another addition on the house or something, and maybe that's why he's doing it. But for actual fighting purposes, this is a very dumb idea. And Nate the Train has already fought Duho Choi. I mean, now, so like he lost that fight, of course, but that was one of the greatest fights of all time, Cub Swanson versus Duho Choi. He's seen what, that level looks like. I
Mhm.
think that he's going to be able to figure out the older, slower, less powerful, perhaps, version of that.
Yeah. I mean, this dude was matched up with Darren Elkins not too long ago. If that doesn't tell you where his skill level lies, I mean, that was a competitive matchup in the matchmaker's eyes. Like, yes, Cub Swanson versus Darren Elkins. Banger.
That's what
Like,
I'm
so,
talking about. And again, going back to the Hakeem Dawodu fight, that was a fight that he clearly lost and got gifted to him by the judges. He is such a favorite of mine that I remember the robbery wins. You know what I'm saying? So it's
mhm.
like, but having that in my lexicon of memory, that it certainly taints a fight like this against a guy like Nate, who I know puts it all out there. Even when he loses, he puts it all out there. So I hate this. I'm not happy about this in the slightest, and I'm not going to be happy if I'm right.
This will be a good fight, though, for sure. Fight of
I
the
hope
night,
so.
most likely.
I hope so. I really do hope that at the very least that he gets that out of it, because that's the only reason that this is worth for him aside from the money.
Hell yeah.
All right, moving on to the prelims here. Our two Bellator kings are fighting each other, Patricio Pitbull and Aaron Pico. I know what you've been thinking about Aaron Pico. I've seen some interesting takes about this one on Twitter.
What have you been thinking, I think, about Aaron Pico?
That he was doing so great until he got
He
knocked
was.
out by a spinning elbow.
He was doing very well. He was winning that round very convincingly. That was going to be a dominant 50-45 performance had not the spinning elbow took his cranium off. Now, I want to give, and this is only because I think, and maybe this is just a little contrarian. I think that the obvious, you would look at this fight and say, this will be a boring one. No reason this should be a featured prelim. I think Aaron Pico is going to be able to bring the fight out of Pitbull that we've been waiting to see. Pitbull versus Yair was actually a really good performance. I liked that fight a lot. It actually made Yair look like a very competent fighter when Pitbull looked like he was on his game kind of deal. Aaron Pico is going to have to prove to me that his striking is going to, be able to do something with Pitbull, but then also mix in enough to take Pitbull out of the striking. Pitbull is not necessarily the greatest striker. He's not necessarily the most powerful. He's very patient. He's a very counter heavy striker. He's also 38 years old, though. We got to be able to get something over. Is Aaron Pico going to be the? Is he still going to have an opportunity in featherweight? I mean, losing to the guy who just got robbed for the opportunity to fight for the belt, not necessarily the worst thing ever. I mean, Jean Silva is and still in the picture, and he just got knocked out by the dude who just fought for the belt. Just unfortunate circumstances for Aaron Pico to walk in and get, flatline like that. But if you guys genuinely watch the fight, you will see a good fighter is there. We have questioned a couple times if Pitbull is really the level that he needs to be for the UFC. But his record is really screaming, pick me, I have experience. I'm going to go ahead and take Aaron Pico, though. I think this is value coming down. I hope he's the dog. I really hope he's the dog. I would take Aaron Pico in a heartbeat. Looking at the height here, 5'8", 5'6". I mean, we all know Patricio Pitbull's a very, he's a shorter 5'6", if anything. Aaron Pico might look massive compared to this dude. I'm pretty sure Pico was a 55er at one time as well, too, I believe. So he's still he might have some size on Pitbull, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, very well could be. And I mean, like the way that I look at this thing is that imagine if this was in Bellator still, if to take the UFC out of the equation, because both these guys are Bellator fighters. If this was still in Bellator, this would be new guy coming to dethrone the old guy, in my estimation. I mean, 38 years old, and not a 38 that has screamed like, damn, that's a 38-year-old that still got it. You know what I mean? Like,
God
I
damn, you make a good point because look at Liz Carmouche, 42 years old, and she's a PFL champ or whatever right now. I mean, I've witnessed somebody try to dethrone her for the belt, and like a 28-year-old who's like 13-1 or whatever, and then they just fucking lose by decision to some 40-year-old person. It's like if this wasn't PFL, that would literally be what would happen right here. Pitbull would just beat him by decision, most likely. So
Yeah, and I mean, and what I was kind of getting at, what I had seen some of these alternative takes on Twitter. Not that I'm necessarily letting them color my judgment, but what I have seen is them saying, "Oh, Pico with all of these wrestling accolades from Bellator, all fraud." I mean, this is not me talking. I'm telling this is what I'm reading now. I'm not, take this with a grain of salt, but this is what I've been seeing people saying, that this is like lower level guys that he was able to get one over on. He's not as good as his record would claim, all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, hard to believe, all of these things. But I mean, this is what you see. Now, the age does concern me because this is not a 38, like I said, that has screamed, this guy still got it. He is the greatest on the planet. Um, this is a tough one for me in that regard. My gut is saying go with Aaron Pico based on a little bit of what we had seen out of him before, and just the fact that even champions all have to end their runs one day regardless. So like if this was Bellator, 38 years old, about the time that a champion would be going out, I think I got to go with Pico also.
oh man, I hate that we both just did that. It kind of want to makes me flip again, man, because this one could go either way, and I don't want us both to be wrong. That's what makes it worse.
I
Is if,
mean,
if neither of us get a point, it's like
take the flip, brother. Take the flip.
no, I'm sticking
It's
to my
right there for you.
guns.
I say it's right there
No,
for you. You're the one dangling in front of your own
nah,
face.
it's okay. No, we're good. I'm taking Pico. I'm gonna feel good about this pick because it's gonna go down the way that it should. Pico's gonna be all right.
Yeah, because I mean, we know that Pitbull is not going to catch him with something. You know what I mean? Like Pitbull is not the type of fighter that catches you with anything. He grabs onto you. He literally catches you and holds you.
True. I was looking at the record. Pitbull did knock out Michael Chandler in the first round. I don't know if it was a knockout, TKO, whatever the case may be, but that was a while ago. So let me just go ahead and take Pico and be cool with it.
Right there if you want it, brother.
No, 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 no. We're good. I like Pico. He did it. He did it. He proved himself to me.
I mean, let him. This will be the absolute. Like again, if you lose to Pitbull, like I cut you off completely. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So like, this is Pico's last shot to prove that the elbow was fluky. I mean, we did see Lerone just lose. So
yeah,
I mean, maybe there's the MMA math will math on that.
true.
All right. Kevin Holland is fighting Randy Brown, the rude boy. I know that you are a big Kevin Holland glazer over here. You got a lot of nice things to say about Kevin Holland's skill set. Do you think that they match up against what Randy Brown brings to the table here?
I actually do. I'm not a big fan of Randy Brown. I've seen this dude, have moments where he just looks completely helpless, is what I would say, and obviously he's been winning fights. He got knocked out by the bomb fiend, bro. I mean, so that's not the greatest look. I mean, that dude's never knocked out anybody until Randy Brown kind of deal. So it's unfortunate. Kevin Holland is a premier guy in this organization. He is a finisher, at least has been for a good portion of his career. He either finishes or gets finished. Randy Brown is the perfect guy for it. What I find very interesting about this, and this is what is going to be the most interesting, Randy Brown is one of these guys who's known for having an exceptionally long reach. That's what he is great at. He's great at keeping range, using his reach, long legs, long limbs, whatever you want to say. Kevin Holland's got longer reach than him. And I know this is the second fight that I'm making the point about reach specifically, but it's not just the reach, it's the size. Randy Brown doesn't normally face somebody who is the exact same build as him. 6'7", or 6'7", 6'3", long reach, long arms, rangy striker. But Kevin Holland has 10 times more skills than Randy Brown. Randy Brown's a striker. He has nothing when it hits the mat. He laid on his back and prayed for the bell to hit once Nicholas Dalby landed on top of him and dropped him on his fucking ass. But Kevin Holland has skills out the wazoo. And this is what I don't care what the reality is. He may not show up. He may. That's why you just don't gamble real money on Kevin Holland, unfortunately. But to make the picks, to make the logical assessment of who's going to win a fight or win a scheduled bout in the UFC, Kevin Holland on paper and in practice has proven 10 times more. He has more credentialed when it comes to the skills that he possesses. I've seen Kevin Holland do things, he's got a fucking knockout from his back. Like, I mean, he can just do things. He just makes stuff happen. There have been plenty of times where I've seen Kevin Holland dead to rights, and he had Gunnar Nelson had the arm triangle locked in, and Kevin Holland just magically rolls out of it. Like, I have no idea how he does the shit that he does. Randy Brown is no different from anybody that Kevin Holland has seen. Kevin Holland should be able. Let me say it this way: Kevin Holland has seen a Randy Brown before. Randy Brown most likely has not seen a Kevin Holland. So that's what I'm going with here.
I mean that is a sound logical argument for that, but I am always hung up on exactly what you said prior. That Kevin Holland is just too unpredictable for me. Why? What's this
This dude's got
gasping?
he's got a split decision win over Chaos Williams, and this dude has also been knocked out by Nico Price. Give me a fucking break, Randy Brown. You're cooked, brother.
When were they?
These were a while ago,
I was
bro.
gonna say Nico Price has to be in like the fucking late '90s. Give me a break.
Yeah,
So, all right, dude. I mean, yeah, Randy Brown has also been around for a very long time, as I have said. I for whatever reason, for a while there, was thinking that Randy Brown was a newer fighter, and then we saw him on UFC 217. So, when we did the rewatch of that, Randy Brown has seen it all. I'm not too concerned about Kevin Holland when it comes to all of the craftiness and all of the cooler, highlight worthy shit that he has done. What I'm concerned about with Kevin Holland is the fact that if he doesn't win the fight, he throws his hands up and says, "Hey guys, damn, it was just not, I really fucked up that time." And then they just book him again and again and again. I cannot in good faith put my backing on someone that is that flippant about winning. And also the other thing I will add to that note is that he wasn't very flippant about his performance against D-Rod. Still ended up losing that fight. Now, I'm not saying that Randy Brown has the same credentials or the same, not credentials, the same attributes. He's not the same type of fighter. He's not the same build as Derek, what the fuck, D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. for I just think that Randy Brown has gotten some good wins in his time. I think Kevin Holland is a dude who is due for a loss. I mean, he won his last one, did he not?
No, he just got kneed in the nuts by Mike Mallet, and then before that,
Oh,
he got beat by D-Rod. Yeah, he's coming off a pretty bad stretch right now.
two losses. So yeah, three in a row. Ooh, that does kind of change things. He is
No,
a
he beat
two.
so he subbed
Well,
Vicente and then beat Gunnar Nelson.
yeah, it would be three in a row. Yeah, that does kind of change things because he is probably just about due for a win now. Shit. Well, you just threw a wrench in my entire
No, dude. I
argument here.
mean, come on, dude. Like,
No, because that my entire literally my entire argument hinges on the checkerboard of Kevin Holland. It's like
yeah.
that's what I would set my watch by is loss win win loss that kind of thing. So that being said, shit, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Kevin Holland too, brother. I hate it. I'm not happy about it because I was gonna go with Randy Brown, but like I said, he can't go that. What can you? If you have this page up right now, can you tell me what Kevin Holland's longest loss streak was? Was it 5?
That's oh, you're funny. So I was exactly about to bring this point up. Kevin Holland, believe it or not, has never lost more than 2 fights in a row
And I
through
think
his
that
entire career.
the
Two
point has
fights
been
has been his
proven.
max. He goes on some like he lost to Wonder Boy. He lost to Shemaev, then Wonder Boy, then beat Ponzinibbio, then beat Chiesa, then lose to JDM, which scandalous.
Yeah.
Venom Page beats Olajaychuk, lost to Roma Delise, which was an injury, and then Renier de Ritter, he got submitted. Gunnar Nelson, Vicente Luque, he beats both of those guys, and now we're back at D-Rod and Mike Mallet, which again, if you look at a couple of these, most of the time, the first loss or the second loss, it's either scandalous and or he got injured or something. So when you look at Wonder Boy Thompson, it was a TKO, but he broke his hand. Okay,
Yeah, and he specifically decided he wanted to strike with him in that fight.
and then you have Roman Delizde. He popped his fucking rib out. Then you look at Mike Mallet. He got kneed in the fucking nuts 3 times or whatever you want to say. So a lot, guys, you guys just got to understand. Kevin Holland, you may not love him, but dude, this dude has a loss to Thiago Santa. Oh no, I was thinking of fucking Thiago fucking Moises. Jesus, I was like, what in the fuck is happening? But no,
Yeah.
Kevin Holland definitely. The resume speaks for itself. He's faced anybody and everybody, and I think he's going to be able to beat Randy Brown.
Sold, brother. I'm like I said, it really comes down to the fact that he is on 2 losses. He is due for a win. So
So you're taking Kevin.
I am based on that. Again, it really is that simple. It really is that simple
Mm,
because Kevin Holland is just that kind of guy, and it is as much of a coin toss as what is his record looking like at any given time.
hell yeah.
All right. That takes us to Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics. Of course, Esteban Ribovics, one of my current favorite fighters here, going up against the gamer Mateusz Gamrot, who is coming off of the big loss to Charlie Olives.
I think this one God, I really don't want to be able to pick against Ribovics because I like him so much. He is such a fun fighter. He's awesome. But Gamrot is a really skilled fighter. He can win fights. He won a lot up until he won a lot of fights up until short notice jumping in against Charles Oliveira in Rio. Gamrot is a very qualified mixed martial artist when it comes to this level of the game. Esteban Ribovics, this would be a big pivotal moment in his career if he can beat Gamrot. But I think we all kind of assume that this is a very big leap for his skill. For what we've seen from him, he is a striker. He can strike. Gamrot can do a lot of grappling and wrestling. May not have the striking that can stand with Esteban, but he can stand with him long enough to drop a level and take his legs. This one sucks because I really like Gamrot and I really like Ribovics, but I truly think that Gamrot probably can take this one. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. I mean, Gamrot is another dude that I feel has granted he's won all those fights, so I can't take away the fact that he's won those fights, but I do have always had this feeling like he is another dude that casts a little bit of a charm spell, just like Curtis Blades. Like there's just something about him or his fight style or whatever it may be that has kind of colored people's opinions. I think that this is the exact right fight, especially after Ribovics, I believe, is coming off of a loss. This is the exact right time for him to bounce back and prove that he really is that guy. So that's my thought
Ribovics,
process here.
He's coming off the win to Elvis Brenner, actually. Still, Jesus, that long ago,
What?
huh? Yeah.
No way. He had to have had a fight after that.
Nope. Nope.
Really?
But I have also just double checked Mateusz Gamrot's record.
Mhm.
I honestly, I don't know why I was expecting that it looked a lot better than this. In 2022, he lost to fucking Dariush, and also he got a split decision win against Jalen Turner. I mean, if you barely beat Jalen Turner, I don't know. I
And
might,
yeah, and Dan Hooker, that obviously we know about that fight too. So
I might be. I'm gonna have to go ahead and switch my pick here. I'm gonna go with
ah,
Rebavix. I'm
all
going
right. Well,
Rebavix.
fair enough. I had him first. So let it be known to everybody. But
Fair.
yeah, no, I would definitely, yeah, because I mean, like I said, I think that Gamrot is just a dude who's kind of like, he's a grinder for sure. He'll
Mhm.
definitely try to get him up against the cage and stuff. But if Rebavix knows that that's coming and is able to, do what he does with his striking, then fucking this is going to be a long time of him trying to go in for takedowns and him getting kneed in the face and then kicked in the head.
No, yeah, I definitely love Rebavix here. It's a hard one to say. If Gamrot wins, I'm gonna feel dumb for switching sides. But Rebavix, I would rather him win and me feel like I supported him rather than Gamrot win and then I feel like shit because Rebavix lost and the dude that I didn't want to win won. So
True.
I'll just go with Rebavix. That's whatever.
All right. Well, that is my choice as well. So we will see. Next up, Tatiana Suarez is going up against Lupi Godinez. This is a tougher fight to call than I think that people are going to give it credit for here. I mean, Tatiana Suarez, I know, trust me, I know that Tatiana Suarez is not all that she has been cracked up to be based on what we saw against, her with her performance against Zhang Weilei. It exposed a lot of the holes in the games, but what she did in that fight is what she always does in her fights. And her last performance was not necessarily the best either, but she still won it. Point is that she is as high level wrestler as you're going to get as a woman, and Lupi Godinez has the exact same game plan. So what this is going to be, and I don't expect either of these women to deviate from that plan. Maybe Lupi will want to strike a little bit more. Suarez is going to try to negate that. So what you're going to end up seeing here is a whole. This is going to be a boring fight, is what I'm thinking it's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot of ground game, a lot of jockeying for position, and the bigger, beefier Tatiana Suarez is going to get her way over Lupi. Even though I love little Lupi so much, I still think that Lupi has a lot of potential in this sport. But I think that Tatiana Suarez is going to use her weight and her size to her advantage in this fight, because it's going to be a wrestle fuck affair.
Yeah, this one, I don't know where to call this one, but I would just like to believe that Lupe Udinez may. She's already lost just too much. I mean, if you look at the most recent losses that she's had, Angela Hill, that's a long time ago, but still, she beats a lot of people. What can you say? Veteran experience. And then she also lost to Virna and then Mackenzie Dern, which again, these are the champs. This is either one of them was going to be the champ. So Loopy, the experience that she's faced, the resume that she has, it's fine. But Tatiana, I feel like she's probably I don't this one's a hard one because I've never personally seen Tatiana give me a performance that I could be like, that's a winning performance. I know she could do that and win. I've just not been here for it. I only saw her against Wei Li and she got fucking, she was the favorite in that. Lupe Gudinez, potentially, and I could be wrong about this, she could also be in this Diego Lopez Grasso camp. We've seen them together previously, but I don't know if she's still around that team or if it's still the same thing going on. I'm gonna take Loopy for the fact that I think Diego Lopez is one of the greatest coaches. Now, if we're talking about mentoring people, Sugar Sean ain't got shit on Diego Lopez. That's all that I'm saying here.
All right, I like the thought process. I'm going to go with Tatiana Suarez. I think that the physicality is going to be the big decision maker here, and I don't think that Lupi is going to be able to strike if she's forced into that position. I think it's just going to be as boring a wrestle affair as you're going to get, and the bigger lady is going to be able to win that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, then that takes us down to the early prelims. Chris Padilla is fighting Markel Medeiros. What do you think about this fight?
You were talking about a fight earlier potentially being one of the more boring ones. I think this is going to take the cake for being the snoozer of the night. And because I said this on the podcast before, Chris Padilla has the ability to feel like he has done nothing in a fight up until he lands the one strike that ends it. And he's done that 2 times now. He did that against Rangju, where he landed the elbow strike right on the eye. And then
Yep.
I forget what strike he just landed on the Bomb Fiend, bro, but he made him quit as well. And it's not like he's putting on a masterclass performance. It's not like he's downloading all the data. He does just have this ability to put everything into one shot. It doesn't matter when it's going to come. It may not happen in the first, second, but at some point during the fight, he has everything into one exchange. And that's what's going to end the fight. That's normally how it goes. But normally, from what I've seen, he does nothing that makes you think that he's winning the fight. He's taking control. He's in the driver's seat. I'm not seeing that from Chris Padilla. He's a very counter heavy fighter, not necessarily counter puncher, but he's always setting up the counters. He's just always ready to counter. He just doesn't always let it go. Markel Maderos is somebody that we have not been high on. He's not necessarily the best guy, but consistent. He can consistently, he's won the fight in the judge's opinion versus a guy that I don't think I've seen do much that wins him the nod, in my opinion. So I think Markel Maderos is going to have an easy path to the decision here. I mean, he's got his last three by decision, and those are all in the UFC. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be able to do this again. Chris Padilla is going to wait the entirety of the fight. We're going to have the conversation of like, he just didn't get going. He just didn't get going. He waited too long to attempt to fight. He waited for this dude to gas. He wanted to show his veteran experience. He was setting up this shot the entirety of the time. And maybe he does set that up. And maybe he gets a big knee to the body or a big knee to the head, when he dips in at the late round, whatever it is. I don't see him finishing it. And I still see him losing by decision because, again, he just does not do much that makes me believe the skill set is there for a consistent win.
Fair. I what I recall about Markel Maderos is him being you talk about Chris Padilla being do nothing. Markel Maderos is do nothing. This motherfucker, I remember him during Austin Hubbard. That was the fight that I was like,
Mhm.
this guy ain't doing nothing to win this fight. And he still ended up winning it somehow. Chris Padilla at least is going to throw things. I mean, like I think he's going to be out there being active in some way, dude. Yeah, I mean, like granted, it might be the one shot is necessary, but I think Chris Padilla gets the one shot. And Markel Maderos, I think I specifically said I'll have to go back and re-listen to our conversation about the last fight of his, but I recall saying or thinking at least that I would never bet on this guy.
Mhm.
So yeah, for that reason, I am going Chris Padilla all the way. Taco Pad is my man for this fight. I think that he is going to land the tomahawk elbow, not necessarily to the eye socket, but to the side of the head of Markel Maderos, and he is going to put him down with that. He might not get the knockout, but he's certainly going to do enough damage to get the nod.
Hell yeah. I like this one.
Yeah, and what I definitely recall is that Chris Padilla is a student of the game. He watches a lot of Muay Thai, and he learns from Muay Thai, and that I think is going to be a much better skill set than whatever the fuck bullshit Markel Maderos brings into a fight.
Hell yeah.
All right, Kelvin Gastelum is fighting Vicente Luque. Why is this fight happening?
I don't know, but I have a quick and easy answer. Vicente is washed. Kelvin is also washed, but Kelvin actually has decent hand speed. Vicente Luque gets punched by every single person and then just falls to the fucking mat at this point in his fucking career. Like, how did he end up underneath fucking Yoel Alvarez in the third fucking round of that fight? I don't even know, but I know he got dropped and saved by the bell in the first round. So Kelvin Gastelum is going to come in here 4 pounds overweight and this fight probably won't even fucking happen, bro. Like, I don't know. I can never tell you that Kelvin Gastelum is going to make it into the cage because there's always, and it's not like, and this is the crazy part. As you guys know, I'm a newer fan. I have not been here for the extensive history of Kelvin Gastelum and his weight misses and his other bullshit outside the cage. I've only been here for a couple years, and I can already tell you that this dude went down to Mexico and over fucking ate. Like, it's just how it fucking goes.
Look at his. They're not even hiding it anymore. ESPN's this picture of him. He looks like he's 40 pounds overweight.
Yeah, it's fucking disgusting, brother. Like, take the pictures after or during the cuts. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but so that being said, I mean, nothing, no consideration for Vicente Luque by sub.
No fucking chance, brother. No. If Dustin Stoltzfus didn't get the sub on Kelvin, has he ever? I mean, he's been sub 3 times. Okay, Sean Brady got it. Okay, that's fair. But Sean Brady's not Vicente Luque.
I
So
mean, Vicente Luque is Darce King over here. He's known for it.
true. I'm still gonna take Gaslam. I think Vicente just doesn't have the mentality to compete on the feet anymore. Kelvin Gaslam, he might be able to finish him on the feet, guys. I think we're gonna get a knockout for Kelvin.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm taking Kelvin as well. I hate taking him because I think you're exactly right. I think he's going to come in sloppy and overweight. The UFC just doesn't care for whatever reason. He has Dana White privilege, so he comes in 4 pounds overweight, no weight cut, no problems with that. He goes out there with the same level of striking that he has no worries about ever being knocked out. He's got a great chin, so that's taken out of the equation. And as soon as Vicente Luque tries to go for a sub, he can just land shots on him. He's got to get close to him to get his hands on him.
Yeah, 100%.
I hate it. I do not. I will never. Look. Kelvin Gastelum is in the Hall of Fame for the Izzy fight. That's certainly valid. I would say everything that he has done since that fight is questionable at best, and I cannot believe the organization lets him get away with the bullshit that he gets away with strictly off of that. There has to be something else behind the scenes.
Yeah, he's got dirt on Dana
I
for
guess
sure.
so. Got some pictures in the on the thumb drive.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see what happens there. But in the opener of this card, Charles Radke, Chuck Buffler, is back fighting Francisco Prado, the other Argentinian, the less Argentinian.
I mean this one is pretty easy. Francisco Prado lost to Veretenikov, and that guy, he's looking decent, but we know he's probably not. Charles Radke is not somebody that I would say is the greatest. He's not going to go out here and put on. Hold the fucking phone. If they're
Yes.
having Francisco Prada listed at 5'10", that guy's like five. That dude's a midget, I'm pretty sure. Either way, Charles Radke is being shorter than this guy. I don't buy it. Make sure you keep an eye on this. When the fight starts, you tell me who is taller because
All
Francisco
right.
Prada, from my recollection, is a very stout person, but
All
he's
right.
also 23 years old. He still does not have the skill that makes you believe. Like, think of the other 20-year-olds. Josh Van, 24 years old, whatever you want to say. Like, Francisco Prada doesn't have any of those raw talent like that you would be like, there it is. Like, that's going to be that's going to be the thing that makes him great. He could do that if he hones in on that and gathers all these other things. He could be great. He doesn't have any of those. He doesn't have any overlying skill that makes me go, wow, that is his game right there. He just I couldn't tell you what he does good. To be fair, I can tell you that he loses well. That's exactly what I saw him do. He's not terribly active. He's 23 years old, so if he's just wasting my fucking time. If Charles Radke loses to this guy, I clearly don't know ball, but I would just hope that Charles Radke can beat this guy because he's not very good in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's really as easy as it is for me. Francisco Prado just is not great. I mean, Charles Radke has had his losses for sure. I mean, 11-5 is certainly not great indeed. But Francisco Prado has never given me any reason to believe that he can get a win. Period. I mean, 12-4 seems like not the right record for what I've seen out of him. It should be a lot more losses than wins on that record, based on what I have the perception of him to be in my mind. Maybe he changes it a little bit with a win over Radke here, but Chuck Buffalo has I've seen him win fights definitively, and that's what I'm going. I mean, I've seen him lose fights definitively too, but Francisco Prado, I cannot tell you a time where I was like, man, that guy looked great.
So, fun fact, in the UFC, Francisco Prada is 1-4. He has a unanimous decision loss to Jamie Malarkey. He has a unanimous decision loss to Daniel Zellhuber, who we know is terrible now. Decision unanimous Jake Matthews, and then Veretenikov. Of course, his only win in the organization is by a first round knockout against Otman Aziatar. So,
Sorry, yeah, yeah. I mean, you didn't need to sell me anymore, but Chase, you done sold me, yeah, doubly. So
yeah.
good job there. Yeah, I mean, again, this guy is not good. Like he's
Yep.
the fact that he is at he's not UFC caliber is what I should say.
Hmm.
I think that's the better way to describe it. He's not of the UFC caliber. He's another one of these dudes that's waiting to get cleared off the roster. So this will probably be it right here.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, Prado, shout out to you. I mean, 23 years old, but I just don't know if the UFC is the career that's gonna be as fair to you as you're hoping.
Yeah, and plenty of other organizations where perhaps you do better. But there you go. So I guess we're both taking Chuck Buffler on this one.
We are definitely taking Chuck Buffalo.
All right. Well, then that takes us to the end of the card. And of course, you can watch along with us for UFC 327 on our individual watch alongs, myself at youtube.com/at Yama Show, and Chase. I know that you can tell them where they can find you.
They will find me watching the UFC cards on Saturday at youtube.com/at CP Smalls. So make sure you check that out, everybody. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I am also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Yama Show. Make sure you follow the socials, yamashow.com for all of your merchandise, both the Yama and last week's fights related. Make sure you cop something at the merch store. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for hanging in with us through the technical difficulties. As always, we very much appreciate that as well. I'm going to look into getting those sorted right after we end right now. So until next time, everybody, have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week. And as always, fight on.